Hello and welcome to this session. Today we are going to discuss single responsibility principle in solid design patterns and try to understand the basic thought process behind it. Let's start with the definition. SRP states that every software component should have one and only one responsibility. A software component could be a class or even a module here, but it should have only a single responsibility. Now let's take a look at a real world example. The image on the screen is a Swiss knife. It's a multi-purpose tool featuring a large blade, keyring, scissors, as well as a hook. In real life, it's a very useful tool, but in terms of software design, it's not a good practice. Clearly, it violates single responsibility principle. So, to provide a better example, let's consider knife and scissor separately. These are two different objects and each has its own responsibility. So, they are following SRP. This type of design in software world is considered good. Soon we will see why it's a better design. Let's address the elephant in the room. What exactly is responsibility means here? Different developers might have different opinions about this term. While this is logical, it is not practical in development. We will move this definition a bit, making it every software component should have a single reason to change. This definition may still seem a bit fuzzy, but we can now say that a class follows SRP if you can't think of more than one reason for it to change. This definition is suitable for practical real world scenarios. But why? Why should there be only a single reason? What if we have multiple reasons for change? In that case, if there are multiple reasons to code change, the frequency of code change will increase and thereby raising the probability of introducing bugs while also causing the cost of maintenance rise. As an example, we can consider our Swiss knife and think about the reasons for making changes. In this case, you would also need to separate other components such as can opener, hook, scissor, and keyring. There is a possibility that you might not be able to reassemble them correctly. The reason is that they are interconnected and you can't just modify one of them independently. So, when fixing the blade, you must address all other components as well, resulting in higher maintenance cost. Now, let's consider knife and scissor as a different object. Suppose you need to sharpen the knife. You can easily do that without affecting the scissor. As a result, the maintenance cost in this case will be lower. Now let's see some live coding example for SRP. We will start our code by implementing movie class. Let's add a few data members to the movie class to store the information. Let's add a required header file and use standard namespace. We also need to generate a constructor to initialize movie object. Now let's create a movie object. Let's implement another method, save as well. So it will save the content to the file and it will take a file name as an parameter. Now let's run this program and observe the content in the file. Now let's assume you have created 50 other classes like this, and each of them has its own save method for saving the content to the file. But then the requirement changes, and now you have to save some content into the database instead of a file. For this request, you would have to update all 50 classes. Now, the question is, can we prevent this from happening? Keep in mind that we are not trying to prevent the update in the save method itself. Instead, We just don't want to modify all 50 classes. We want to be able to modify just one class so that this request can be fulfilled. What we could do is create a separate class that consists of all the save method from different classes, and then all the operation related to saving content to a file could be handled by modifying this single class. We can't access movie class data members directly, so we need to generate some getter method here. We can see that the new file also stores the same content. The only difference in this program is that now, if there is a requirement change related to saving the file, we don't have to modify movie class. Instead, we have delegated that particular responsibility to a different class. The movie class is only responsible to store movie related information. So, this was a live demonstration of single responsibility principle. Thanks for watching.